Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goalwood, joining you on Thursday. The international break is slowly moving along. We'll be back to proper Premier League football very, very soon, although I did enjoy Italy versus Spain last night. Very, very good game. Spain were great. Apologies, haven't done many videos this week. There's not really been too much to talk about. With Arsenal just basically, not much going on. But there is news today, big news as well. So I thought I'd pop on, do a video, talk about it a little bit, and go over a few other things as well. So the big news, Jack Wilshere is back training at Arsenal. The club have finally announced that he is back at London Colney. They've put out pictures of him training. They're training on his own, not with a squad or anything at the moment. And Mikel Arteta has been speaking about that. Got to say, it is very wholesome content indeed. I think we all love Jack Wilshere. We all want to see him fit and healthy and doing well, and hopefully he can train well, get himself very, very fit at Arsenal and get himself a new club. Because I wouldn't I don't want to say anything that's going to get totally taken apart by the Twitter aggregators and make it sound like I'm saying that it's definitely it could happen, because I highly doubt it will. But you can't rule anything out, can you? Who knows? Matteo Guendouzi was training at Arsenal a few years back, ended up getting himself a move thanks to some really impressive performances at London Colney. So who knows? Jack might do the same, but that is not what the plan is, from the start. And apparently Arsenal is saying as well that predominantly he's going to be with the under-23s as well. So it doesn't sound like, from what I'm hearing, that he's going to be week in, week out with Mikel Arteta and the senior team. So, but Mikel has been speaking about it and saying why they've invited Jack back, and here's what he had to say. He said, he was asked, could a fairy tale return happen, because that's what's going to be speculated. And he said, what you should believe is that we want to help Jack prepare for his next stage physically and mentally. He wants to do his coaching badges again, and we are prepared to fulfill all the needs that he wants. That is basically the idea, and it is no further than that. I am very happy to have him back. We had a conversation with Jack and I understand the needs that he has, the period that he's going through, and I think everyone at the club agreed it was the right moment to help him. And yeah, I think that's absolutely great news. We know Jack's been going through some difficult times, and that he is an absolute 100% Arsenal boy. And if the club can't go back and help one of their own, then who can they help? So I think it's really great news that Arsenal welcome Jack back. From my understanding as well, he had a meeting at London Colney last week. He went in there, he sat down, he didn't train, but he went in, had a meeting, I think on Wednesday, sat down with the club, and they all discussed things here. And Mikel's goes on, he said, look, we sat down with him, we listened to what he wanted, and what he wanted at this stage, and what we are prepared, and whether we are prepared to do anything that we can to help him. He is going to be training sometimes with us. He is going to be around the place. He's going to be continuing his coaching badges that he is very interested in, and trying to get him fit, try to get his experience across to our players, our young players, our academy. And I think it's great influence to have around. So again, their comments from Mikel certainly pointing towards Jack, while he is at Arsenal, doing a lot of work maybe with some of the younger players and the under-23s who train at Colney as well. And I'm sure we've seen Per Mertesacker has invited David Seaman back recently, and Per will be delighted to have someone like Jack around with that under-23s team that is coached at the moment by Kevin Betsy. You look at some of the players, you look at Charlie Patino, who basically just looks like a new Jack Wilshere coming through. And what a fantastic experience that would be for someone like Patino to have Wilshere there working with him and helping him, guiding him along the way. It's a win-win situation for me. I don't see any negative in this at all. And I'd be surprised, but if you look on social media, look on Twitter, I'm sure there will probably be people saying, no, shouldn't do it. He's a has-been and gone, move on, blah, blah, blah. But, that's rubbish, I'm afraid. Utter rubbish. Great to have Jack back. Hopefully he can get himself fit. Hopefully he can sort himself out. And I'm delighted that the club are helping him out, because, as I said, Jack Wilshere is an Arsenal boy, and he's still only, 29, I think, and he doesn't deserve to be sitting around not playing football at the moment. So hopefully this can get him a move. It can get him in a really good place. It can get him fit. And potentially by the time the January transfer window opens, he can get himself a decent move to whether it be Premier League, Championship club, just get himself playing somewhere. He could even be in Europe. So fingers crossed. But delighted to see Jack back, and hopefully looking forward to seeing some videos and some pictures of him working in and around the place very, very soon. Okay, so that was the sort of big news that's come out of Arsenal. I wanted to talk about a couple other things in this video that I was tempted to do a video yesterday talking about it, but I decided against it. just because it's not obviously, fresh news or anything, but I just wanted to talk about the striker situation. There's been lots of rumours this week about potential strikers. There's been lots of talk about it. Mark Owen, very good, well-connected Arsenal reporter, but he covers Arsenal a lot, works for The Sun, wrote a piece this week saying that Arsenal were looking at Ollie Watkins and Dominic Calvert-Lewin as potential new strikers for next season, when we all know Lacazzette's probably going to go. And so I just wanted to talk about the striker situation, really, and who would be... I'll give my opinion on who I like. Now, I have to admit, I really like the idea of someone like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think Calvert-Lewin has been excellent. I think he's ready to go up a next level. And I know I've seen idiot pundits like Danny Mills say, Arsenal would be a sideways step for Dominic Calvert-Lewin going to Arsenal from Everton, which I'm afraid is just rubbish. But that's Danny Mills, and it's what he always comes out with. The guy goes to sleep dreaming about that moment he got nutmegged by Thierry Henry at Highbury. Can't get over that. Just can't get it out of his head. Obsessed. And, look, yes, Arsenal are struggling at the moment, but there's no doubt about it for me. Dominic Calvert-Lewin moves to Arsenal. It's not a sideways step. It's an upward step for him. Arsenal, Everton, a massive club, absolutely, but Arsenal, bigger club, more successful club, will pay him more money. So it's definitely not a sideways step. And, it'd be interesting to see if Arsenal do push through. It wouldn't be cheap, that's the thing. It'd be very, very expensive, I'm sure. But I do think, if Arsenal are going to spend big next summer, it will be on a striker. I don't think we're going to see another summer next summer where Arsenal go out and spread the money across sort of 5, 6, 7 players like we saw this summer. I think they're going to very much concentrated on potentially 2 or 3 players next summer, and I imagine there will be big money spent on one of them, and it would be a striker, because Orba, we know, 32 now. Laka going to go. Laka's future, I think, is pretty clear. No contract talks going on at the moment. I know Mikel's still saying he's a valuable member of the squad, and he is, and I'm sure he'll play lots of football this season. I'm sure he'll score a fair few goals as well. But the fact is, he's out of contract. Highly unlikely he's going to sign a new one. There aren't talks going on at the moment, so Laka's future looks like it's going to be elsewhere, and Arsenal are going to have to replace him. The only other strikers they've got at the club are very young in Gabriel Martinelli and Folarin Balogun. Balogun, in my mind, should have got out on loan this summer, didn't, and he's not going to get many opportunities. He's going to be playing in under 23s. Martinelli, we still don't know if he's a striker or if he's a left winger. He's not getting many opportunities anyway. Arsenal are going to have to buy a decent top level striker who can come straight into the team next season, in my view. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think, would be right up there on the top of the list, given his age, given his the fact he's English. We know Arsenal are trying to sort of move down this sort of market when it comes to identifying strikers. I mean, Arsenal will be analysing everyone. They'll be running the numbers. It's what they do now. Ollie Watkins, another one I wouldn't be absolutely against. Massive Arsenal fan as well, which is a help, but again, only just signed for Villa. England international, young, will be big money. So Arsenal, if they're going to want to sign one of these players, they're going to have to splash out an awful lot of money on them. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they do at all next summer, because that's going to be the big signing. It has going to have to be a striker, that and a central midfielder, I would say. I'm going to be really interested to keep my eye on what Ivan Toney does this season for Brentford. He started it so well. I think you've got to give him a long period of games yet in the Premier League before you can really judge him. But I think he could also be an option. You're looking at other players across Europe as well who Arsenal will be keeping an eye on. Jonathan David is a player they've been interested in the past. He's having a very, very good time at Lille at the moment. Again, there's sort of question marks about exactly what his position is. Is he a central striker or not? Or is he someone who likes to play more out wide? The Fiorentina striker, I forgot his name at the moment, and if I'd get the pronunciation all wrong anyway, who's not going to sign a new contract. That's just come out. A player a lot of clubs are interested in. Is it Vlahovic or something? I'm sure you'll all correct me in the comments below, but he's not going to sign a new contract. That's come out. And so that'll be interesting to see who gets him this summer, because he's certainly going to be on the move. And I think, all those sort of names are going to be in the mix. We don't know anything for certain yet, but it's going to be really interesting, that striker situation at Arsenal and what happens in the summer. I think that's one we're going to see sort of building up as we get towards the end of the season in terms of what Arsenal are going to do, rejigging their forward department, because I think it's absolutely vitally important as well. I think they've put the pieces in place of a very good team at the moment. Potentially Arsenal, with a lot of the signings, they're going to continue to grow as they get older and as they play together. But I do think you've got to look at that central striker position. I still think Orba's going to score plenty of goals this season, but you've got to look beyond Orba now. He's 32. You've got to bring in the next player. And I think we're probably going to see that this summer. Who should Arsenal sign? You let me know. Who should be Arsenal's next striker? Leave your comments below. I was going to be intrigued to have a look at what you've got to say. Just quickly before I go, there was a friendly at London Colney yesterday behind closed doors. Arsenal won it 3-2. Arsenal not giving out the goal scorers on that. Mix and match sort of team. Obviously quite a few players away with international duty at the moment. The under-23s who normally would have been involved in that, they had a game against Bournemouth, drew 1-1. A lot of those under-23s away on international duty as well. People like Patino, Beerif, following Balogun all the way with their national teams at the moment, so they weren't even involved for the 23. So some really young players called up to sort of play with the senior side against QPR at Colney yesterday. A couple of the young lads who was it? Taylor Foran, the defender, who's the under-18s captain. I think he might have played like one appearance for the under-23s at the moment. The Portuguese midfielder Mauro Bandeira as well. He hasn't played for the 23s yet. So those two were involved with the senior side. You know, players like Lacazette, Holding, Chambers, Guendouzi, not Guendouzi, so I'm talking about Martinelli. Those sort of players were playing in the game yesterday at London Colney that Arsenal won 3-2. Team news-wise, I mean, good news, Bukayo Saka clearly fine after what happened against Brighton. He's still with England, so that's looking good. Obviously, Granit Xhaka out, but apart from that, at the moment, ahead of the game against Palace on Monday week, is it? Everyone looking good. Nothing bad yet has happened during the international break. Fingers crossed that continues. And finally, Matteo Guendouzi, big night for him potentially tonight. Could get his debut for France. Had a very good start to the season at Marseille, which is good to see. Obviously, still technically an Arsenal player, although that looks like that's going to be turned permanent next summer. And still good to see. And like I said, I'm a big fan of Guendouzi as well. Shame it didn't work out at Arsenal, but I hope it works out well for him, whatever happens in his career. And potentially a very big night tonight and for him, and looking forward to that game, France versus Belgium. If it's anywhere near as good as Spain versus Italy last night, then we should be in for a treat. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Do appreciate your time. As always, please do enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.